week. We had a week off last week because, there's just so much chess going on. So hopefully we'll have some good opinions from Messrs. Bullen and Rees to dissect and divulge our own chess performance and just try and bring to you what's going on in Welsh chess, but also chess across the UK as well, with some huge tournaments coming up and huge tournaments also just happening as well. So it'll be great to see what you both thought about it and get some real honest opinions. But guys, how are we?
Tired. So tired.
You been helping your sister move house? Yeah.
Well, I think and from both things. So yeah, I'll sleep well tonight, maybe.
Okay. Is he freezing for you as well, Alex?
Yep. He's now that we've gone live, he is freezing.
Oh, right. Okay. So before we click go live, it was fine, and then as soon as something happens, he freezes.
That's good. I could hear him sigh then. He was,
yeah, that's the only part we want, actually. The sighing part. Yeah, you're kind of very laggy. When you do the screen behind you as well, that does take up more computer power. So
I don't know how to turn it off.
Oh, right.
I haven't even got the screen there. Like, let me see if I can turn it off. Anyway, ignore me for a bit.
Yeah, I think.
How was your tournament, John?
How was my tournament? I think you know how my tournament was, but well, I'll tell you what. Let's look at it. Let's do it in order because I think Alex has got some things already lined up. Because we before we start talking about tournaments, we have to go through the Welsh chess calendar and the ratings as well. So let's have a look at what's going on in over this. So Alex, take us through where we're going first. Ratings or calendar?
Is this my screen, right?
This is your screen, yeah.
Are we now on the Welsh Chess Union calendar?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, we're on the latest news at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Just bear with me. God, the sass, now that you've come back. Johan didn't sass me once a couple of weeks ago. So, calendar. So I think it's very much the same as it was. Because it was, when we last looked at it, we were actually very impressed with how updated it was.
Yeah.
With a lot of things. But I think the thing that we've noticed is the website's gone live for the tournament in September. The
Newport one.
Congress. So there's a Congress entry form, and then it's got the interactive bits as well. So got an entry list, which has some people entered. So we've got 5 in the open, 10 in the intermediate, which I think's good when they actually keeps the entrance update as it goes. So we've got that.
To be honest, I think the website's really good for this Newport event, and it's great to see more tournaments on the calendar. And it's I'm just trying to see if I wanted to play in a tournament. I think I'd try and want to play in this tournament if I could if I had to choose one of the next few ones to travel down to. It seems like it's going to be in a good venue as well, from what people are saying.
I think so. It's got Welsh seniors alongside it as well.
Oh yeah, you clicked on it now. Okay, I see.
Yeah, I clicked on the other one, but I didn't share the new tab. So
okay,
what I shared before. But 1963 or earlier, so you're not quite for that one. Oh God, it was already shaping up. Tim, Mark, Lee, some solid players in here. So it'll be good to have those two alongside each other.
And was there a general meeting that happened recently as well? Is that on the calendar?
It's not on the calendar, but it's on the
latest news, perhaps.
Latest news. They basically long story short, just agreed a very small increase in fees because of a lack of funds.
Okay. What's that to the right of it, though?
Oh, right. Well, so yeah, they've just increased a little bit, but most people will go through their club, so it'll just be probably reflected in the club.
Okay.
This is selection committee procedures and objectives. They made some announcement about what the point of the selection committee was. And then there's two statements. One is the right of appeal that basically says you can appeal to the Welsh Chess Union after they make the selection within 24 hours. But when you appeal to the Welsh Chess Union, you can no longer legally challenge the decision, I believe is what it says. But it sets out the exact process for if you want to appeal whatever they've said. And then they've got the selection committee statement, which I thought, oh, brilliant. They've made one of these. But then it's from October 2012, which is, this wasn't fit for purpose even when 2016 Olympiad was selected, let alone 2024. So I hope they'll have an updated one coming soon. But so I don't know why they posted it really. But
yeah, I guess from three Olympiad potential players on this chat, we're quite interested just to see what the rules and regulations are, because they do change every couple of years or every 4 years, aren't they? And it can make a difference to selection. What we need to do, especially with myself and Johan, we're not living in Wales anymore, not living in Wales and having to play certain tournaments to make sure that we qualify. I don't know. Have you thought about that yet, Johan? Because you've only just moved out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I kind of would be interested to know what the rules are, but I'm not sure if I can. I'm not sure if it's tricky making the Olympiad, isn't it? It's the first Olympiad when I've got kids as well, it seems. So it's can't leave them for a month or something.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some parents would be running away for a month or something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're a good egg, Johan, then, by the sounds of it.
Although Budapest, when you guys told me it was Budapest, I particularly like Budapest. It's like one of my favorite cities. So if something does appeal, then yeah, that would be a place. Okay,
so basically, Alex, from looking at this, I haven't even seen it. I've been away for a week on holiday. Everybody got back today, and so I'll have a read through it myself. But they've got something on there from 2012, which seems a little out of date. So maybe if they could update that'd be really good for us. Just to see, it's always nice to know. But I'm sure they'll do what's in the best interests of Welsh chess when it comes around to selection as well, because it's always interesting. Okay, so anything else from the calendar, Alex? Any other things that we've missed?
Not calendar-wise, but I mean, it goes up until sort of the end of April next year. So I don't expect there's going to be much added week on week. I feel like it's in a good place, and if you want to find a tournament or an event, then it's the first place to go.
Yep. Okay, right. Well, let's move on to the grades then.
Yeah, let's move on to the grades.
Absolutely. Oh no. I haven't looked at this since.
Uh-oh. Is this the first week that John doesn't want to look at the grades?
Yeah, I think it is, isn't it? Yes, put it in order.
Oh, have I gone down?
Look at that. Yoan -3. Disgraceful. John -8. So actually, by not playing, I've got closer to you guys. All I've got to do is sit here, and you're just going to keep coming my way.
Oh, how did I lose 3 points then? Is that from? I'd love to know.
Well,
it'll show you. Because I guess what happens is that what rating did they use for Freddie Gold? They used his FIDE rating, did they?
They used his FIDE rating, but they used some. They put Garcia's 2606 because they use the English ratings, don't they?
Yeah.
Which is helpful, I think. It's beneficial because otherwise you have to perform at 23:43 to break even.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, they look like they've been quite kind in choosing the ratings there.
Probably. Although I'm surprised K-Van's maybe not higher. But,
she played really well, actually. She did play very well. She just in a similar vein to me, just played well, but with just really horrendous mistakes in the games.
It was quite interesting when you messaged you. I think you also said Andre played quite well as well. Is that right?
Yeah, if you just look at people's accuracies, and how often they blundered and stuff, it was just so low. Andre had 2 games that were at 99% accuracy, and he drew both of those. So annoyingly, one of them was against me. So I was I had a fairly sizable advantage, but it wasn't winning, and he just played good moves, and yeah.
Well, I guess for viewers listening in, it's probably wise for us to tell them that obviously Johan last week was playing in the the Wood Green International, GM norm / IM norm, all play all. And that's why his rating's gone down slightly. But I mean, he was playing against, I mean, were you the lowest rated?
Jack was, yeah.
Oh, Jack was the lowest. Jack Rudd was the lowest rated. And,
yeah.
and considering Jack Rudd's been over 2,400 before.
Yeah, I mean, Jack technically was higher rated than me after the South Wales International. So I was like live rating the lowest. Yeah, quite some way as well.
How did it feel being? Did you feel that you were the lowest rated or the weakest player on rating in the tournament, or did it not feel like that when you were playing?
Not really. The issue for me was like, I mean, I basically like got an advantage out of the opening, like pretty much every game, and I wasn't really getting outplayed. I just was having like a fairly major blunder like each game. and also like these 2400s just don't roll over. Like you get an advantage, you play very well for a number of moves, and they just keep finding like good moves like all the time, just keep you going, and then eventually time trouble comes and you hang a piece or something.
Yeah, it's horrible. All I want to happen is when I get an advantage is for somebody to just make a simple blunder that just loses a piece or something. Just let's make it easy. Let's wrap this game up and go home.
They would just knuckle down and just find like defense, like just really nice defense. Like they're so resourceful. I think that's the main difference when you get to 2400 rather than 2300s. Like I think 2300 and below, you just kind of crumble and but they just keep finding resources all the time.
Do you think that's also something to do with competitive spirit though as well? Like because sometimes the psychology comes into it, like how you react to when you're behind, and a lot of people just don't want to play positions that are bad.
For some people, I think it's psychology, but like I think it does take practice. Like I think to find these resources, like it's I don't know. It was very impressive. Like even against each other, I'd watch them. One person was on top, but they just fight it out. It was just really, really amazing.
Yeah, and obviously Amit Ghazi got his GM norm his second.
Yeah. He played really well, very, very well.
What does he need to do then to become a GM now? Because he's got his rating over 2,500 already.
Yeah, he's just got one norm left.
But does the norms have to be? I'm pretty sure the rules changed that they can't be in a Swiss. One has to be in a Swiss now.
Yeah, so I guess he needs a Swiss norm now. Yeah.
So that's going to be really annoying for him that he didn't do this a few years ago.
Yeah.
Do you know when that change was, Alex?
No, not really. I just know it happened, and a few people moaned about it. I think it's the reason they moan about it isn't because it's necessarily harder to get them in Swisses. It's because it's difficult to find strong Swisses, right?
Yeah.
So, well, it depends where you live.
More expensive to go and play in these Swisses sometimes, I guess.
Yeah.
Because often, there's not so many of them in Britain that are going to be suitable. Like, so I guess you got to go forward.
For GM norms, probably none. I mean, IM norms, you can do them, I think, at like the British and things like that, and North America.
Like, I wonder if he played in the South Wales International and got like 8.5 or 9 out of 9. That's what you'd need, wouldn't you? Like,
well, I mean, I heard you talking 2 weeks ago about like IM norm chances for me or something like, and you're just saying first round 1,800, second round 1,900 at best, just no chance really. You have to go completely clean throughout the tournament, which is just near on impossible most of the time. So, it's so far away. But all right, well, good luck to Amit. I actually grew up with Amit, by the way. He's a year or two younger than me.
I was going to say, I was wondering how old he was because, like, we were talking, and he won the British Rapid Play Championship when he was 14. He said, like,
don't remember that. He might have done. I mean, he was a very good player.
And he actually had that kind of hindered his progression. So,
oh, really? Yeah, he's got a brother Samit who also played, and so they were in the junior. I met them a few times. I've actually got a nice draw against Amit. So I think it was in the League Congress. It was in the King's Indian, but a same-ish King's Indian with c5, and I take the pawn. And then there's this repetition that I kind of knew about, and I actually claimed a threefold repetition on him. And he didn't want to draw; he was going to play on, but because the position repeated 3 times, I snuck a draw. He was already going ahead of me at that point at such a young age. It was quite funny. But okay, I mean, any comments from your overall tournament experience, Johan? I think for me, I think we did say about the time control beforehand, an hour and a half each, and 30 seconds extra per move was going to be quite quick, and also it was going to be quite fast and brutal. And also, you haven't played a tournament in donkey's years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's quite a brutal. It was an absolute brutal tournament to play in, like without much match practice. It was really tough to get used to the time limit, and everyone there was so ambitious, and even the GMs were desperate to get more rating points, I guess. So it was everyone was really it was tough.
Yeah.
Well, I think you did well to kind of like hang in there as well. Did you slip to something like, I think early on you had a few tough results, and you see a lot of players in these events, they just crumble, right, when they have a few setbacks, and you finish on sort of like half out of 9, 1 out of 9. I think you had quite a few setbacks, and you kept bouncing back pretty well, like putting it behind you and playing good games the next day, which I thought was intense.
That was one of the things. Like, I mean, when I started this whole challenge thing, is it frozen? Is it?
Yeah, just say that again. Sorry, Johan, I missed that.
I was saying, like, when I started this whole idea, this challenge, like, I basically assessed my game and like thought about all the weaknesses, and like one of them is that I probably wasn't my attitude or mental toughness wasn't enough. Like, if I had a bad move or bad game, then I would kind of collapse. And it was one of the things I wanted to sort of address this tournament, was that, like, if I had a bad game, I was not going to allow it to affect anything else, So it's one of the things that I'm sort of semi-pleased about with the tournament, was that there were lots of times, like there was a lot of like freak occurrences that could have just thrown me off probably.
I've noticed that he freezes when he gets excited. just stop trying to smile and shout, Johan. But I think that mental toughness is huge, though, isn't it? From one game to the next, you just can't let it affect you. And well done. I said to you, didn't I, on the chat? I still think you actually played really well in the tournament, and you should keep going with that. But okay, when's next for you? When's your next event?
I need to find one. So yeah, if anyone's got any suggestions, then let me know.
Well, there's obviously the Welsh ones, but it depends how far you're allowed to travel.
Yeah.
So that's really the biggest one. I know there's some IM Norm ones coming up in Newcastle upon Tyne later on in August as well. But of course, there's all those Welsh tournaments as well to play. And apart from, as well as the British starting tomorrow. Yeah. But it's a bit late for that one.
I basically decided to play this GM tournament instead of the British. So because I was going to play the British.
Okay. I don't know if he's frozen, Alex, or not, but we've lost him a little bit. All right. Well, any other rating surprises here, Alex? Would you say?
I mean, there's not tons going on. I guess it'd be interesting to see who the biggest jumper is. Jack Hannigan.
Oh yeah, he played quite well, didn't he?
He lost his first 3 at the international, and he went on a run, beating some good players. Di James, Joe Fatala. It's a couple of savage games in there. So he was playing well above 1300. So probably quite underrated. But it's always nice when players get those big jumps.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and obviously this is for me. I was at -10 actually before the last round. If you click back to mine, so to be honest, I was quite happy with my tournament in the South Wales International overall, because it clearly was a tournament that I was not playing well at. And yeah, I think from a damage limitation point of view, I think I got a little lucky, but also managed to still be in it close towards the end, and a couple of results going the other way. And I think I could have even challenged, and a bit disappointed to lose the two 50-50s to Joachim and Jacob. But I, considering how badly I was playing, round 3 I got very lucky. Did you watch that round 3 one?
I was watching live. I don't know if I was quite discussing it with Johan in the chat, but I was at home when it was happening. And I remember I was looking at my phone and my mum was saying, like, how's John doing? I'm like, nah, John's going to lose now. I was like, he's played appallingly. Like, he's getting owned. And then I got home and I saw the result and I was like, oh, someone's put the kings in the wrong place, obviously. Like, I'm not going to win that from a pawn down. And then I went and played through and it was like a look into my past.
Yeah, I thought it might have been. But I mean, that just shows you, just how hard it is, though, to play in these Swiss tournaments and get results. Because if you play back through the game, I didn't actually do that much wrong.
No, he just played. I mean, his rating here is obviously nearly 2100, which is probably more about what you'd expect. His FIDE rating was 1800 something.
1850, I think it was. Yeah,
1850, which is sometimes it's a bit farcical, really, trying to play these guys with no reward, and they can all play.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm not too bothered about the loss to rating on the Welsh rating list, but it takes me below 2200, I'm afraid. But I guess with the crew results from the weekend before, I'm still actually gaining rating on my FIDE, so I'm still going up, but just short of 2200 at the moment, which is annoying. But I really enjoyed the tournament down in South Wales, and I look to go to that next year, or depending on the Olympiad dates and things.
September.
Is it? Okay. But yeah, it was a good tournament. I had a lovely place where I stayed at down there. I had all the preparation that I could have. The tournament before it, where I played well, a nice venue where I was comfortable, and I was in a 10-minute walk away from the venue. The place where I was staying at, I pretty much had the run of the house. I was cooking my own food. I had everything perfect. So why did I not play very well?
Well, from what you're saying, what we need to do next year is find you the worst accommodation, give you like no cooking amenities, have you rush into all the games, turning up late, and then maybe you'll play well.
Yeah, maybe
that works. You need to stress you out a bit. You're too relaxed.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, and we'll see how it goes. But all right then, let's have a look, because there's so much chess going on at the moment that obviously we've got the South Wales International results. I guess we should have a look at as soon as it was one of the biggest tournaments in Wales. Oh, Alex is gone.
Am I back?
You are back. You're a little quiet, but you are back.
I don't know what happened there. Like, just the internet's been a bit dodgy tonight, isn't it?
It has been a little bit weird tonight, but we'll get it right soon. We should definitely have a look at the South Wales International results. So this was the starting rank, wasn't it?
This is the finishing rank.
Yeah, and my colleague up here actually did very well. Beat me in the penultimate round, and then had a fantastic last rounds where he beats.
To be fair, I thought he played, like, I think he was a deserved winner of the tournament. Like, looking at his games, like, he seemed to consistently play quite well.
Yeah, he's putting a lot of time and effort in. I mean, for example, my game against him, who's analysed that line with a computer already? Like a few months ago, this is that he did that. So if you're going to be at the top, you've got to know your openings. You've got to know them in quite a lot of detail, and he definitely does. And that's why I was able to get the win against me. Maybe my line was a bit suspect, but he's been improving year on year. He's been getting results against GMs all the time. He played in the English Championships, Jacob Boswell did, and did very well. Yeah. Somehow, guys, I was the top Welsh player.
Played terribly. Tournament for Welsh players by the looks of it.
Oh, it was. I mean, the thing is, I think Dan Kozizak could. Oh, it would have only been joint, would it, if he won his last game?
Did he pull out?
Yeah.
Yeah, he only played 8 rounds, I guess, because his chances of winning went, right? and his norm chances also. So
Yeah.
he thought, he'd let John have his moment in the spotlight.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird though, isn't it? I feel like I played absolutely terribly, and yet I'm the top Welsh player. Okay, I had to leapfrog.
Prize money for that.
I think it's £100 or something, so it goes some way to covering a little bit of the cost to actually playing it, which is nice. I had to leapfrog Tim and Olivia actually in the last rounds. They were half a point ahead of me, so I got a little fortunate in the way that fell. But still quite pleased to actually pick some prize money up. But for a disappointing tournament, it's still actually a big positive thing. Because even against Hugo, I was making some horrific blunders in the last round. I managed to just about scrape through. Hopefully I can improve in the future and try and work out why I did not, why I kept making all these blunders. But I was surprised that Jacob shared it with Boris. I was trying to work out who was the winner at the end, and because my game was still going on, I was trying to look around the boards to see who had actually won the tournament, and I couldn't work it out. I didn't have a clue because he was playing on board 3, wasn't he? He got on like round 9.
Nielsen had a chance to win as well.
Was it Wells as well had a chance to win? And
Wells, but Nielsen was not winning, but considerably better for a lot of that game. I think he played very well. I think, and so that would have been a really interesting final standings, wouldn't it? Really?
Yeah.
With 2 people sharing, 2100s sharing the win.
It just goes to show that this tournament was there for the taking, though.
Yeah. GMs shared so many just non-fighting draws. Just I think you kind of get what you deserve if you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think those shout out Peter Wells because he's the only one who these days isn't doing it because he went he battered Bashev, then let him off the hook and then basically beat him a second time. And if you look, Wells actually beat the 2 winners in this tournament. He beat Boswell and he beat Bashev.
Yeah.
In consecutive rounds, but he came unstuck against Daniel and a draw with David Roberts. So
it was a bad game.
Yes, but at least he tried to play right against everyone. I think even against Courtney, they played a reasonable amount.
Oh, he had a decent advantage in that game. Yeah.
Yeah, he was telling me actually that he dropped 70 rating points or something crazy, but at K factor 10.
I think time management seems to be an issue. I think he basically lost to Daniel because of time.
Yeah.
And, there's no reason to use that much time. It wasn't complicated position or anything.
He's always had this issue and just hasn't found the fix. So it's one of those things where it's what do you say when somebody comes to you, or how do I fix my time trouble issue? And then you're like, well, we've got a grandmaster here who hasn't been able to fix it in years.
Yeah.
What is the actual solution then? Because it's clearly it's not just a quick fix, is it? For it.
But I think he must like time trouble because he turns up very late, Wells, doesn't he? He's not an on-time player and he's deliberately late. It's not like I'm bad.
Some people do like it, basically, don't they? For various reasons. I have my own theories, but some people love a bit of time trouble.
Yeah, I don't mind each their own. I hate it when you're playing the team with a time trouble addict, though. There's nothing worse than that. Because everyone's sort of made the time control. You're looking around trying to work out what's happening in the match, and you've got some people playing 20 moves on increment, and all 3 results are possible. And
that reminds me, I'm not sure if I told you guys talking about increment, right? When you've got an hour and a half, and then 30 seconds of move, and that's it. Oh my god, I had to play an hour on the 30-second increment, maybe more than an hour, dying for the toilet. Absolutely dying for the toilet. I was honestly at one point thinking, do I resign? Do I pee myself? What do I do here? And at one point, I basically the arbiter was watching our game, and I basically stood up so I could still make my move because I was close enough to the board, and asked him is there some rule about going to the toilet? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh god, because there was no end in sight for this game, and I was just there so bad. So I'm not going to say I lost the game because of it, but like essentially, you know, it wears you down in the end, doesn't it? I was winning better or equal all game apart from my last move, and I lost on time. Like,
I mean, so what actually did you ask afterwards? What the?
There is no rule. You either lose on time or you pee yourself. Like, you know, like I think you can ask your opponent to stop the clock, but apparently, like, you know, so I was playing for an hour on the increment, like dying for the toilet.
I mean,
are you allowed to pee yourself? Would that be distraction? Because you're not allowed to distract your opponent.
I think surely, like, you're allowed to pee yourself, because otherwise,
surely not. Sorry, if I'm playing someone who's literally just going whilst playing me, I'm so complaining about that.
Maybe I should have asked the arbiter for a bucket then instead. You know.
Yeah, but what would you do? You couldn't just whip it out and then just give him the bucket, could you? I mean,
hey, do you know what? If I was on for an IM or GM norm, I would have asked for a bucket and I would have been peeing right there and then. The only reason I wasn't is because I had nothing to play for. Like, there's no way I would have let what happened happen if I was on for anything.
So I love the fact you say I would ask for a bucket, and you ask, and Matt Carr, whoever the arbiter is, goes, "Oh, get the pee bucket, get the IM norm pee bucket, and then bring it over." Get it over.
If he didn't bring it over, I was going to be peeing in that little box that you put your mobile phone in or something.
I mean, it's actually a serious thing, though, isn't it? Now, because
that time, if you need, because you can easily be playing for an hour on the increment, and like, you know, you're drinking like water or coffee or whatever, and I've got the world's like tiniest bladder, you know, so.
But I mean, this is one thing though that like it could be something where we actually use this as a reason for why chess is actually a sport, because you know you need to be physically capable and trained, because the problem is, well, as we get older, we get worse, don't we? At holding our bladders, and maybe Alex isn't at that age yet, but you know, it is something that I think affects people, especially as people get older. You know, the amount of toilet trips some people have. I mean, I remember playing in the British Online Championships a few years back, and I was deliberately not wanting to go to the toilet because I didn't want somebody to accuse me of cheating. I thought it was the wrong thing to do anyway. So, but the games are only like, what were they, an hour each plus increment? So it wasn't exactly a long game anyway. Some people were going like 2 or 3 times to the toilet during the game.
Oh, I go really often because I drink like tons of water and stuff. So yeah, I basically learned from my mistake though, because I kind of saw this coming in my last game of the tournament. So I had like 10 minutes left, and I was like, this game is going for a long time, and he had like over an hour left, and I thought, this is not looking good for toilet break. So I went and had like a proper pee. Like I had 10 minutes left. I used about 3 or 4 minutes just to like really make sure that I was going to be fine. And then, yeah, he did. Like in my last game, I was basically again playing on the increment for over an hour. But I was like, yeah, I'm well and truly like peed out. I'm fine. So I learned from my mistake.
I think there must be a better way of doing it though, of getting nutrition rather than drinking coffee, which definitely makes you go. It's a diuretic. And also drinking tons and tons of water, which I know you're meant to do it for your brain function, but you can't do it if it's going to make you go 3 or 4 times to the toilet. That's just ridiculous. You know, you just up at, you know, especially your game's actually a short game as well, wasn't it? You know, it's not like this was a long time control. It was an hour and a half and 30 seconds extra per move. You didn't even have an extra load of move 40. So it wasn't actually that long. There must be a better way, a much easier way for us to take on, I don't know, liquid.
Well, why don't we open people watching, John? You know, if you've got a recommendation, when you get in touch and let us know how you cope during your games.
Yeah, please do. Or if you don't cope during your games, then we actually like to hear more probably from those stories, actually, because it does sound quite funny. We actually got quite a funny comment in the chat from Madge Zeitnot. He's calling it en passant.
Yeah. That's what I needed.
So you needed. All right, okay. One last mention, I think here. I think the star of both shows, playing in both tournaments because he can't get enough chess. Jack Rudd.
He's playing in the British as well.
Oh, legend.
Do you know what's funny? Like, I'm fairly sure. I'm not. I'm fairly sure that. I mean, his style is just incredible, isn't it? You know, playing so fast and just. I'm fairly sure that he was at least -2 in every game, and he got 4.5 out of 9. Like, it just shows if you play like fast enough, then people are not going to find the wins. So, my game against Jack, I accidentally repeated the same position 3 times when I was winning.
You accidentally did it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I was on the increment again, like just standard for me.
What was it? Move 10.
No, I mean, to be honest, I was quite happy with my time management. I just wasn't happy with my management of like being on the increment. Like, I think I used what I needed to when I did. Like, and I got a winning position, and I just I basically like saw some ghosts, and I thought I'll just repeat a few times just to get a bit more time, and then I kind of changed my mind twice. And essentially, like, I forgot that I was checking him from different squares on purpose, but I forgot that the one in between was the same.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah.
So I got a bit of a shock when he said, "I'm going to play King H6 and claim a draw." I thought, "Oh, what?"
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's gained some rating points for these 2 tournaments, and
47. That's insane. Like, yeah.
Really good. Well played, Jack, I think is what we'll say. Because I know that he didn't always win.
As well, isn't it? Because he had a rough 4 NCL season. So it's nice to see now a couple of tournaments back to back. It's probably boosted his confidence and gets him back into the 2300s comfortably.
Yeah, and that means he's not going to lose his board 1 spot for us, I assume, Alex.
Well.
Oh.
Oh, no, this is more, I'm not really sure.
Who have you recruited?
I'm not really sure that us will necessarily exist, but more on that once I've probably read the email I received yesterday. So.
Okay. Well, let's move on then. So what's next, Alex, on the update? There's so much.
Well, whilst we've got Southwest International, I've got a couple of games that will take a minute each just to look at a couple of fun things for the Southwest International.
Oh, excellent.
So this is the first one. Well, first of all, I'd like to bring up, it was on Chess 24, and there was only 2 comments the whole tournament. And one of them, despite it being nearly all Welsh and English players, was some guy, Slava Mavrodiev, cheering on Shapobashev, which I think, we should have at least had some Welsh people saying, no, we don't want him winning again. But yeah, I wasn't so impressed with that. Anyway, this is from the game David Malaberti against Guy Wagner, which Guy won. And in this position, Guy just played queen.
Oh, that's a nice mate, isn't it?
He just plays queen takes g4 and white resigns. But yeah, as Johan said here, black would have done well to play knight f3 check, and the only move g takes h5, rook takes h5 mate, which I think would be
very nice.
pretty cute if you pulled that off. So the result's the same, but yeah, despite having a good tournament, Guy needs to work on his style points, I think.
Yeah, it's a good win. That is actually 300 points rating difference there. 350.
Well, he started because the round before he drew with Yakim as well, so he had a great first day, and he only lost people significantly higher rated than him. So yeah, good event. And then secondly, just from the last round, Boswell.
Nice move.
The title decider. So they reached this position, and the engine reckons black's done everything right to this point. It's got a small edge, got the bishop's probably more active, doing well, and it thinks after knight d5 that black will be doing pretty well. And here he gets very ambitious, Corny, if he plays knight g4. And
if you played knight g4 the move before, it just wins.
Yeah.
Well, not wins, but it's pretty good.
How about g6? Oh, yeah. Okay, now I understand. Yeah, because we're going to see the problems with g6 shortly. Here's knight g4, f4 to stop anything happening on h2.
So just for people watching, why would f takes g4
Yeah,
be?
I'm not sure. So you guys are going to have to tell me here. So f takes g4 is really bad because black has bishop h2, maybe?
Bishop h2.
I think.
Yeah, bishop h2.
Bishop h2. He's got to take. And queen h4 check is just going to be mate on h1.
Yeah, look at us. Turned the engine off and smashed it. Yeah, so that's why we're not taking this. So f4 was pretty much forced here. And then Kornev goes knight takes h2, which again can't be taken because of similar mating nets. It's bishop on b7 is an absolute monster. He goes f3 here just to blunt the bishop, does Boswell. And you're probably thinking here, it looks like black's doing very well. He goes knight takes f1. And
yeah, but we can see the analysis on the left as well. But this move was beautiful, wasn't it?
I mean, does anyone know what white's going to play here? If you're watching on record, you can pause the video and have a little think. But Boswell here plays knight f5, which is a stunning move, attacking the queen on e7 and also threatening knight h6 checkmate. You can't defend both, so Kornev had nothing better than playing rook e8. And
so just show, why can he not just take the knight?
And if we take the knight, then I guess queen g2.
Yep. You can block with the knight temporarily, but it's just going to be checkmate, actually, when you take the knight. Oh, queen g5. I missed queen g5, of course, yeah.
And mate on the board. So being the last round, Kornev did play on, but once the queen's gone, the hopes of getting anything out.
I thought he nearly got something here, you know.
I mean, I thought Boswell was at some point a little bit clumsy, but it was. It's a lot. It's a lot of material, right? Queen for a rook.
Yeah.
And
with that diagonal as well.
Yeah, it was actually funny how the bishop on b7 was a monster about 10 moves ago, and now it's completely blunted by f3, and the bishop on b2 became a monster.
I don't quite understand how he missed this, you know, like, and also like I don't understand how he saw his tactics but not the move before. It doesn't really make sense. G6 was really an odd move.
Well,
knight g4 works now, so why didn't he? He obviously must have seen it. But
he's just worried about knight f5, I assume, which is funny, right? He's worried about knight f5.
Yeah, he should have been worried about knight f5.
That's good, actually. Yeah, I like that. But I think it's one of these as well, isn't it? Where I feel like if I was playing black, and I mean, I don't think I'd have seen all this knight g4 stuff, but it's very easy to get carried away, going, well, I'm just going to win as black. You know, all my pieces are active. None of these pieces are defending at all. I'm bound to just whip something up. And next thing you know, you've won. You think you've won an exchange, and actually you're just.
It's kind of funny that he played g6 to stop knight a5, but it just made the move better.
The thing is, though, he was actually lost against Jack Rudd as well, Oleg Kornev, wasn't he, earlier on in the tournament?
Well, that was just Jack. I mean, he outplayed Jack the whole game, and then somehow Jack crashed through and was winning, and then just didn't stop and think. So
he wasn't exactly playing perfect chess himself. And, you know, one thing I noticed about Oleg was that a bit different to Chatabashev was that he was actually using quite a lot of time over his moves. So like against like people that are like my rating and lower, for example, in order to beat them, it's almost like he was giving us respect, which is not normal for a grandmaster. They don't normally give us respect, do they? And they tend to play it quite quick and just win. And he was using a lot of time in order to do it. And you see here how much time is that accurate time for this move, or is
that's at the end of the game?
That's the end of the game, yeah. And I'm not so sure that his time management was perfect. But the only other thing about the tournament was that it was a 5 o'clock start for the last rounds of the days, and it made it quite difficult to eat afterwards because you could talk in a 4-5 hour game. In my case, sometimes eating at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or going to go and find food or going to go and cook food at that time was quite difficult. So maybe that had an impact on players. I don't know. That's the only excuse I've got. Sorry?
What was the time limit?
An hour and.
It's kind of a horrible time to start 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it's like was it an hour and 40 plus 30 plus 30?
Yeah.
So you got an extra half an hour at move 40, but it was 30-second increment from move 1. I think it was an hour 40. It might have been an hour 30. There's still, a 4-hour game was not unheard of, quite common. So even from 5 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then by the time you go and get food from somewhere, it might be 9:30. Then you got to eat it, and then.
I think if you're going to start like that late, then it needs to be the same time limit as the tournament I played, really, doesn't it? Even though it's not like it's not very pleasant time limit, but it is what it is. Like if you want to fit 2 games in a day, I think it has to be an hour and a half plus 30 seconds, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for those positions, Alex. I can show you some horrendous blundering for mine. If you click on my last round game against Hugo, if you go on the drop down at the top, or even there, that's fine. Click on that game, and then he played on right.
The end of this. Wow, I've never seen that end game before. Wow, that's brilliant.
I mean, he played on right until this point, but didn't let me checkmate him.
Come on.
I can't believe it. I can checkmate with a bishop and knight, but he played on here just to make my 4-hour drive home just that little bit later in the day. But it was my own fault for blundering. I don't even know what move to go back to. There's just so many moves here, but let's not go too far early because it's quite scroll down further than that. Let's go to further than this. Let's go, I don't know, 41, king f2. What's happening there? Just go forward slowly from here then. I think actually this is actually quite interesting. Keep going. Go fast. Yeah, keep going. So I pin him down to the c3 pawn quite nicely. And I just had a complete, this is around the point. So here, just this move, there's just this is just pure 9 rounds of being tired and just not playing well. If you take that move back, the thing that I wanted to do was to get my light squared bishop onto the h5 square. That's what I wanted to do. If it gets to that square, his king is forced backwards. It's actually nearly checkmate, in fact. So bishop f7 here would be the obvious move. And in any normal day, this is the move that I play. And bishop h5 check is just devastating, and it's pretty much game over. But the reason why I play f5, I'll show you. So we go back to the game. We play f5. We go forward one more move. Goes here. For some reason, at this point, I thought I could play f4. And if he does knight takes pawn, I can do bishop g4 check. Completely missing the fact that I'm in check myself. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, I've just played f5. Literally, it's not even a difficult calculation to make. But for some reason, I thought that bishop g4 check would win his knight. And he just doesn't even win his knight. He can play king e3. I mean, I'm just like talking about missing things and just missing simple things. This is my tournament in a nutshell. This is why this game was so hard to win. Because I was missing simple stuff like this. I'm just like, what on earth am I playing at? And I had to go a long way around with my king, which was obviously quite nice to play, and I did enjoy doing that. But it's thankfully I didn't play f4. But it makes the game a lot harder because I can't get my bishop to h5, so I have to do it a different route. Missing simple stuff, Alex.
Interesting. Is this position drawn?
Do you know what? This endgame is really interesting. I think this probably would be drawn now. Yeah.
Because, I guess the white king's so active, right?
Yeah, I think if you, because one thing that he wanted to do was swap off the dark square bishops a bit earlier, and so if you swap off the dark square bishops, then it gives him a chance to blockade on the dark squares with his 2 knights because my light square bishop can't hit it. I'd be interested to know if that's drawn. So, like, if you go back maybe 10 moves here or something like that. So, yeah, keep going. So, yeah, it's just like somewhere. Yeah, keep going further back. Yeah, maybe even right at the start of this. Like here, for example. So his move was bishop d2. So what I'd be interested to know, and I haven't done my analysis fully yet, is if I do swap off the dark square bishops, what's the result of this endgame? Because, okay, the pawn up is definitely winning most of the time. but strategically, this makes this endgame harder. It gives him drawing chances. He can blockade on the dark squares, and I haven't got enough pieces to attack dark squares because my light square bishop can't play. But the bishop can dominate the knight so well.
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of work to do, but you imagine you'll find a way pretty comfortably, right?
Yeah, you imagine a setup with his white king on f4 and
you king on b5 and take on d4 though. I feel like knight takes d4 is going to be the key move.
Yeah, I think Johan's in chat saying knight e3 and then knight d1. I think I even looked at this. I think there's a problem with it. What was the problem? Knight a4. You're not actually attacking the knight. Knight a4 is going to stop you there. Because you can't get the bishop around to d1. You can play bishop f5. Bishop a6. He wants to go bishop a6 and then to b5.
Oh.
The problem is now we go knight b1. And you're right, the bishop is really, really good, but it can only attack from one side. And the problem is, if that white king gets to d2, then you ain't winning that pawn anymore. And maybe it's still won, but I just didn't want to allow this opportunity. You know, it's one of those things which I definitely would play this on for another 200 moves, maybe try and break the record. But you know, if you give your opponent drawing chances like this, then, you know, especially with my track record from this tournament, as my round one game, for example, for tested, that this is actually, you know, it could be quite hard to win this. I thought keeping the bishops on was the easiest decision, and then realized that it was just too many free minor pieces actually can really stop your king getting close, and so it had to take a really weird route to go around. Interesting endgame though. Wasn't happy that I had to play it as I had a busy schedule. But do you want to share the blunder from before as to why I'm in this mess? Did you see it?
The blunder.
Yeah. So like when I went bishop f4 triumphantly. Oh yeah, there it is. Only a few moves before. Yeah, bishop f4 there.
Oh,
bishop h2. Oh, this is just...
Yes. I was watching.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And, you know, here, if I just, like, retreat the rook, or in any of the previous 10 moves, just play knight h6, knight g4, it's just completely winning and devastating for me. Even here, just retreating the rook is actually really good.
Just simple chess, John. Simple chess.
Well, it's just two clear pawns up, and the bishop pair is dominating. And I thought, oh, great, I get to go home here and play bishop f4. Oh no! And it's just so simple, and you're just like, you know, you can see these tactics normally, but when you're tired and when you're not playing well and not seeing things, you miss these and give young wily opponents chances to draw.
We've all been there, though. It's I think again it comes back to that sort of toughness in that, you know, a lot of players who would sort of miss something like this, and even though you're still better, which helps, but again they'd get sort of internally quite annoyed, and it would affect the rest of the game. And you know, you seem to play okay for the rest of the game. Like you got the job done, which is again the most important thing, especially when you feel like you're not playing your best. Still getting wins against these sort of players is important.
Yeah, okay. Right, well, enough about our chess because we've only got 5 minutes left, and we do have an official Welsh chess team playing chess somewhere in the world. Where are they even playing?
We have the European Senior Team Championships in somewhere in Poland, I believe, but not a major city. I'm not entirely sure exactly where it is.
Excellent. Who's in the team?
And the Welsh team, which finished 15th out of seeded 15, finished 15th, which is bang on where they should be, was made up of Rudy the Rocket Van Kumenad on board 1, got a 3 out of 9. Charles Higgy on board 2, 4 out of 9.
Well done, guys.
Lee Davis, board 3, got unbeaten 6 out of 9, which is pretty good
Lee.
going to go unbeaten in any event. And board 4, Tony Hughes, 4 out of 9. So, I mean, score-wise, actually, to finish like 15th, which is quite low down, you'd expect them to be, those are some serious scores everyone's got there.
Yeah, you expect to like 1 or 2 out of 9 or something for finishing so low. Somebody to have an absolute stinker, but actually they've all put a lot of good points on the board there. I mean, Rudy's played on board 1 and got 3 points, which is really good.
It's and I think actually what stands out is obviously the fact they didn't lose any games 4-0, which I think in any team event, if you're one of the lowest rated teams, you expect to lose a game 4-0. So to not do so shows you've taken some scalps off high rated players. For example, Lee against someone 300 points higher rated in the first round, and they took the results off teams higher rated than fairly regularly, which is good going.
Yeah, I hope to see some more photos of this event, by the way, as well. I saw a couple on Facebook, but I haven't properly scoured the photos there as well. But yeah, Lee Davis, fantastic man of the tournament from our perspective. Who won this tournament then? Well, do we need to ask?
It was won by Slovakia.
Was it?
Yeah, so the English team that came second had John Nunn on top board. And I mean, that's a pretty beastly team, and they didn't win. They lost their match against Slovakia, who
oh wow,
had actually rating wise were much lower rated. 2400, 2200, 2100. Didn't even have a reserve player, but they were just. I mean, they didn't lose a single individual game. I see here they all went unbeaten, which is
every single player
next level, right? You wouldn't see this in any other team event for the whole team to go unbeaten. So I think, deserved winners in that case.
I mean, this was what age group was this in? Because I'm pretty sure
there's.
So there was also a 50 plus.
There was a 50 plus, which England won because they sent an absolutely stacked team. I mean,
yeah, this is the one that I saw the post at, and I mean, Hebden, Ems, Arkle, Fear, Ward. I mean,
it's like someone needs a rest today. Let's put Chris Ward in the team. I mean,
with it. Look at that at the end. Look at the rating average that Chris Ward faced.
1564. What? Where is let me click on him. What did he actually play? He played a 1900 who didn't turn up, an 1100, a 0, an 1800, a 2000, and a 1700. And he lost the 1800. Wow. It'd be nice if we had PGN, actually. I'd like to see that. But yeah, I mean, actually, they took gold, but they got scalped. I mean, I saw Arkle lost quite a few. He lost 3.
Wow.
Hebden was just classic Hebden, wasn't he? Just getting the job done. But yeah, I think they only won it in the last round. But them and Slovakia went head to head again, and they won the first 8 matches and then played the last round. Yeah, and Hebden and Ems getting the job done.
Okay, well done to England's team who got those grandmasters that seem to be aging. But I think more importantly, well done to Wales for sending the team over. I hope they've had a great time over there, and look forward to seeing some of the actual games from that as well, or some of the good positions. And maybe Lee can get in touch and send his best game. And I'm sure they'll do a report on it, shouldn't they? Or somebody should do a report on it as well.
I'd like to think so. So yeah, I think I'm sure there'll be lots of content going around, which would be good to see.
Cool. Right. Anything else, Alex?
There's nothing else from me actually. That's everything I had. I see Johan dropped off a while ago because I can't see who's on the call that I'm sharing.
Yeah, I don't know where he went. Something happened to his computer. He's probably. We don't know what the problem is there yet, but I'm sure he'll be with us soon. But no, I think that the next biggest thing, to be honest, is the British Chess Championships, which is starting. Well, I think it officially started today, but will start tomorrow.
Are there any Welsh players? Do you know?
Sam Dukes, I believe, is playing in it.
Oh, okay.
I'm to be honest, I need to refresh my screen because I'm talking about that from like a week ago from a glancing look, and I need to investigate it a bit more detail. But I'm going tomorrow actually to Leicester to do a bit of kind of community relations PR work, shall we say, in the centre of Leicester, where I'm going to be talking about chess, doing a simul to some Leicester chess players, and trying to just big up the British Chess Championships. which would be good. So yeah, it'd be good if we could keep track on all the Welsh players taking part in that and seeing how they do. Obviously representing Wales in the national championships, because we don't usually have many people playing in the top section. So I know Ethan did it last year. I don't know if he's doing it again.
Well, we've just got one apparently, just Olivia playing the top section this year.
Oh, is Sam not playing it? Has he moved?
We've got a ton of players playing other events. So I don't have time to go through them all, but just in the championship, we've got just Olivia. I know Sam is playing some of the events. I'm not sure exactly which ones, but I did also see originally he was in the championships. I don't know.
Yeah.
A bit. But so yeah, to cover that, I guess, in a week's time.
Of course.
We'll be stuck in by that point.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be there next Thursday and staying Thursday night. Doing a little bit of training on the afternoon, but I should still be here for the Welsh Chess Chat as expected, and we'll keep it going. But okay, well, we'll bring it to a close for today. Thanks for joining me, Alex. Thanks, Johan, for joining us as well. He's talking in the chat about how Freddie tortured him for an hour because he made a blunder. I'll have to play through that endgame. I thought it was just a draw. I didn't realize you actually made it hard for yourself. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. Click follow, or if you're watching on YouTube, then click like and follow us, please. There'll be more of this to come. And good luck to all Welsh chess players. I look forward to doing some more talks about Welsh chess. Bye-bye.